I'm Jayant Parasramka and did my internship in DE Shaw and I finance for me was something which I always liked, which is coming from from my generations. From my dad is into something related to do with business, and I've been always open to things per se like the stock market and those kind of things fascinated me. So going into DE Shaw, which is like a hedge fund, is something which is new, which is relatively new compared to what finance is, and how hedge funds as an industry are going and how they work. That is something different to what traditional finance businesses do. So DE Shaw for me was one of the first priority options while going into the summer internships, and I think it worked out well. You get to understand different exotic products which they trade on, something which is not taught in classes, something like swaps, something like inflation-linked bonds and those kind of things. If people do understand those kind of things, and they have these exotic trading schemes and algorithmic trading schemes which you won't be getting across to used to these things in classroom learning. So a lot of practical learning was done in the classroom. One of the first things which I received was in my offer letter was we don't wear formal wear and we dress casually, but we work formally. And DE Shaw probably epitomizes that work culture. There are no barriers where you can go and you can address to your managers, senior managers. They are sitting across on the same floor. You can meet your ADs, who is the associate director. He's the highest level point of contact, and you can talk to him in the evenings, any hour, any time of the day, and they are very open to people speaking up to them, whatever you want to do, even apart from your own work which is given to you. And they make you treat like a normal employee and they give you work like that also, so you are responsible for everything and every action you take and you do. And that is one thing which I think is very big thing. Even as an intern, if you're being made accountable and you're made to do work which is what a normal employee would do, at the end of the day, that gives a lot of freedom, and that gives a lot of accountability and also freedom for people to express themselves in this 2 months. My interview was basically like a discussion. It wasn't an interview per se, but it was more or less a discussion, and it started off with me, my previous background experience, and that was for hardly 10 minutes, and then they started talking to me about what I liked. It was basically stock markets, and they started asking me questions related to valuation of the company where I was working in. But then they started to understand how my think and my thought processes were, and how logically I can come to certain valuations and talk about what things are happening. They try to find out what you are aware of. They try to find out how you logically think towards things, and it didn't feel like it was just an interview. So at the end, the one thing was that at the end of the interview, when I came out, people were asking me why was it so long. I didn't realize that it was a 55-minute long interview. So it was a discussion. It was a very pleasant discussion, and DE Shaw as a company is also the same. It's a very pleasant company to work in. There are no hierarchies. People won't shout at you. People would be very accommodating, but at the end of the day, they do expect work to be done. So you should be prepared to put in long hours or hard hours in work, but once it's not as if your work is done, you can leave early as well. So it's all about how good you are and how well you adapt to yourself. My specific advice to juniors was try to find out what your own strengths are. If you look at the 3 or 4 people who went into DE Shaw per se, and all of them had their own specific strengths, and they tried to leverage that while getting into DE Shaw. So every person would have his or her own specific strength, and you need to hone that skill, and you need to go deep into that to understand it, to understand how things work. How deep you can get into your own field of study. That would help you. I know just a 2 month thing won't make you a great MBA, and even still now, we are not great MBAs. We are just learning in process. But what matters is if you know about something, how deep you know about it, and how much knowledge you have about that particular thing. That will help you across industries wherever you want to go. Know specifics about certain things and go very deep into it, so that you know what you are speaking about in front of people who are interviewing you.